Welcome, Naomi, to your astrological breakdown. I'm your astrologer of a book. Um, what you're looking at right now is a natal chart. Natal chart is a snapshot of what was in the sky at the time of your birth. It is where the signs and planets were at the time of your birth. The outer ring shows the zodiacs. The little symbols on the outside are your planets. And the inner circle is your house system, which is the information that is given when you know your time of birth. Your first house is what was in the sky, or what appeared like the sun, the space that the sun was in when you were born. So because Earth is on its own rotation, or it spins, and what we call a day, it makes it look like the sun is rising and setting when it's actually staying in the same spot, but we're spinning around it. So as this happens, it looks like the sun goes through different signs. So when you were born, it looked like the sun was going through Leo. So that's why you would be a Leo ascendant, and Leo would be within your first house, your first awareness. And then it's kind of like a 360 around the earth, and each house takes a slice. It's like a pizza. Each house takes a pizza slice, and each house represents a different area in your life. The first house would be yourself, your identity, what you present to the world and what other people see in you, how you dress yourself up for the reality, to present to reality. Second house is values, third house communication, fourth house home, fifth house pleasure, and so on and so on. But I'm really going to be talking about the planets, but I just explained that so you understand what you are looking at on the chart. Within here, it kind of shows what symbols represent, but there's a lot of extra symbols that you may not need to know. But when I talk about the planets, you'll probably be able to point them out and see which symbols are talking into what about the ones that I delineate. There's a lot of extra stuff that you may not need to know, or I'm not going to cover within this reading. But anyways, your ascendant is in Leo. The ascendant, as I said before, is your first house. It's how you present yourself to reality, or how other people perceive you. This being in Leo means that you are fun-loving and outgoing. You aren't afraid of the spotlight and actually prefer the spotlight. Leo is the lion. It can give a roar that shakes the very ground, but when you're with your pride, as in your other lions, you are very playful and generous. You have great personal pride in the things that you present to the world. For example, your kids probably show off with kids, or like to, or being a proud parent, basically. But not necessarily only with your biological kids, but with all the other kids that you can create too, aka mentalities, emotions, relationships, because these are joining of energies too to create something new. You and somebody else both exchange energies to create the relationship. So this is how the world sees you. You can also dive into, because Leo is the spotlight. It is ruled by the sun. So it's about, seeing, and it's about perspective. So it's about attention. Kind of like the sun rising kind of puts the spotlight on the earth, and it's like action. It's daytime. Now it's time to go. The show's on the road. That's the kind of energy that Leo comes with. So people may dive into looking at you as dramatic, or overly expressive, you may get some of that energy thrown at you too. But even not necessarily when you're trying to throw out that energy. Leo always has secret haters. That's a curse of Leo. I have a Leo ascendant as well. So I feel ya. Sun and Capricorn. The sun is your ego. It's your worldview and how you see and perceive things and yourself to be. So the ascendant would be what is shown, but the sun would be the truth behind it, the source of what is being shown. That would be your worldview, your perspective, and what you see in yourself and what you want validated by the world around you. Your sun is in the constellation Capricorn, the goat, and literally it's the goat in every possible way because it's represented by the goat, and it's also the greatest of all times because Capricorns come with that hardness, that with that ambition to be able to go and accomplish their goals. They are able to butt horns with obstacles in order to be productive and disciplined and to do what it takes to accomplish the goal. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the planet of boundaries and restrictions, reality, karma. Capricorn is also cardinal Earth, which each sign has an element attached to them, and each element can take different shapes and forms. These shapes and forms are called cardinal, fixed, and mutable. Cardinal is like gas. It's the catalyst. It sparks situations. It's the initiator. Fixed is focusing on that energy after it's been initiated, trying to hold on to that energy. That's fixed, which is kind of like solid. Mutable is more versatile, how it affects with its surrounding. It's fluid. It's how it incorporates into things, or the end result. It kind of resembles water. So cardinal Earth would be initiating practicality. So that's the kind of energy Capricorn comes with. So Capricorn is about structure, and it's the blueprint. It's the exact, it's the layout and map of the farm before the crops are planted. It's the exact species of the crops that are going to be planted, and how to grow them, and how to distribute them and get them out to the buyers. That's the energy Capricorn comes with. It's the blueprint. So Capricorns Capricorn suns respond best when they are in control of their perspective and worldview, when they get to build the structure of what they see in the world, and this can come off as bossiness to a degree, when on one side, because there's a functional and dysfunctional side to everything. There's a yin and yang to everything. So there's a functional side to these signs and energies, and a dysfunctional side, and it's up to us to establish that balance, or knowledge of them helps us establish that balance. So that's why I'll be telling you both. But for the most part, Sun and Caps are mature, responsible people, and they respond to reality with seriousness and objectiveness, and are able to not let their emotions get the best of them. Very professional in their approach to life and disciplined. Libra moon. The moon is how you emotionally respond to the world. It's also what you attract and manifest into your life. It's the real you. Your moon is in the constellation Libra, the judgment scale. Although that kind of sounds scary, it just represents balance and fairness. Libra is ruled by Venus, but it's the masculine side of Venus. AKA, it's about pushing out all of the things associated with Venus. Such as love, harmony, abundance, fairness, beauty. Libra is also cardinal air, so it initiates thoughts and conversation. Air represents thoughts and conversation. This is what helps add to Libra's creativity and expressiveness. Having your moon there means that you emotionally respond to love, balance, and everything beautiful. You have a strong desire for peace and harmony, and respond more positively to situations that, present those things. Libra also has the energy of self-indulgence, indecisiveness, passivity. But this is your moon, so this is kind of what you manifest in your life and what you emotionally resonate with. So you probably attract this energy a lot into your life. So you attract a lot of indecisiveness or indecisive people into your life. You probably attract a lot of self-absorbed and superficial people in your life for you to deal with these emotions or because this is the vibe that you're leveling on. So you gotta watch out for that. But your sun in Capricorn will probably help you keep your head straight, or be able to see what is beneficial and not beneficial for you. That's nice. But sorry about that. But yeah, this may also lead into people pleasing too, as well.
I would take a break here.
Why?
Then cut that out, and then start again. I would do that. Just say there was a car. Cause that's that you can't.
So this may lead into a lot of people pleasing, or a need to people please, or attracting a lot of people that demand that energy, or that force you or put you in situations where you can fall into that bag. So try not to be too passive. Try not to be too accommodating for everybody else's emotions and neglecting your own. Mercury in Capricorn. Mercury is the planet of thinking and communication. Mercury is personified as Hermes, Thoth, and the messenger of the gods. Mercury is your nervous system. It's the planet closest to the sun and moves the fastest. Mercury is like your initial reaction to things, how things are processed in your mind. And being the fastest, its very nature is changeable and adapts to whatever situation it's in, which makes it also very reflective, which is why it's always going into retrograde. And this is in the same sign as your sun, so it just adds to that Capricorn energy, which just means that the way you process reality is the same way you see it, in a more structured and practical sense. You know how to put ideas to use and use cold reason to understand how things work with each other. You probably don't like to talk about things that will never happen, or are able to see through when somebody is just talking all fluff and the factors or the things that they're talking about, that can't be produced, that it's all smoke and mirrors. Probably able to see through a lot of that stuff. Venus in Sagittarius. As I partially explained before, with Venus is the planet of love and connectiveness. It's how we value and appreciate people, places, and things. Sagittarius is the centaur. It's one of the few human constellations among the zodiacs. it having an animal lower half and a human upper half shows this tendency to have higher self, lower self battles, or to fall into animalistic nature type natures. Sag is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of experience, luck, and opportunity. Sag is also mutable fire, so it's like the after image. The warmth that was attained from the fire, not the spark of the fire like Aries, or the actual fire like Leo, having your or the actual fire like Leo. Having your Venus in Sagittarius means that you value warmth, that you value optimism and honesty. You relate best to people when you shared experiences with them, and those people help facilitate your growth or gave you better insight onto things. There's this air or need for flexibility with Venus in Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is the adventurous sign. Your relationships have to be an adventure, or at least make you feel free to value and love however you so choose. If you start feeling trapped, or that you have to start feeling a specific way, or start relating in a specific way, you'll feel like you're in a cage, in a box, and Sagittarius hates that. It always wants to run away. So spontaneity and adventure is very crucial with Venus, in a relationship with a Venus in Sagittarius. So be aware of that. Your Mars is in Aquarius. So Mars is the planet of passion, desire, willpower. It is what you do, or the drive behind what you do. Your vitality. Aquarius is the planet of sign of innovation, of humanitarianism and progressiveness. It's ruled by Uranus and Saturn, co-ruled, because the farther planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, those are more generational planets. Their influence is spread out so wide because of their distance. They are so far away that it's more of a generational effect. It's less of the personal planets. It's more in a general sense. So they can only be cold rulers. They can't rule a full sign. They can only share rulership with other with other planets. So Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and Saturn. Uranus is the planet of rebellion, innovation, originality. Saturn is structure and reality. So having your Mars in Aquarius means that it would mean that you are passionate about humanity and progression, that you feel a need to improve the world, and that this is what you do, or this is the driving factor behind your actions. You tend to find or create groups of like-minded people and work very well within this type of setting. When you're with people who are all putting their energy towards improvement, when they're all putting their energy towards progression, you flourish within this type of environment and can be a leader within this type of environment. It's probably very hard for people to convince you against your actions, because you know that you acted in them in a very logical manner based on the data that you collected. Aquarius is an air sign. It's fixed air. So it's being fixated on your thoughts and communications. This is what helps create originality, because it's like an air bubble, or basically like an air bubble. Imagine Aquarius is like floating, like a floating air bubble, which is where you get that futuristic sci-fi type feel to it as well. So this may lead you to a lot of humanitarian causes, like fighting for, neglected groups of people, or being levitated to, or driven to to help those people, to help those people within that situations, and just overall move everything forward. This is where your passions lie. This is what drives you to act. Your Jupiter in Libra. So having your Jupiter in Libra kind of explained Libra before and kind of explained Jupiter. It's the planet of expansion. It's the planet of insight and vision and experience and wisdom, faith, morality. Having your Jupiter in Libra, the way that you achieve success, or when you learn best, or draw the more meaning, is when you act as a mirror for others. You're in your bag when you get in the in-between, and you bounce off of others in order to establish balance and fairness in the situation. You probably have the power to be able to calm down any argument or disagreement between people, or have that natural ability to do that. You are an icebreaker and a bridge for people to connect with other people, to their environment or to themselves. Libra is air, so it's very light, which means that when things get muddy or thick and deep, you may struggle with these situations more. Not necessarily saying that you aren't a deep person or that you can go deep, but when you try to do these, or when the situation demands for that depth, you may not have luck on your side, or you may feel that this is when you struggle the most, or when the world responds to you the worst, or challenges you the most. You may have had past experiences when going deep may not have played out as an advantage, where it was more detriment, and those experiences hold in your mind because or you attain wisdoms from those experiences, and those may scare you from really going into deep searching experiences, or when you're communicating with people, trying to keep it more of on a lighthearted surface, so that you have more power, or that you can help out a little bit more, or it's more within your energy for you to benefit the situation, or luck will be more on your side. But not necessarily saying that you need to shy away from this. With all of this heavy Libra energy, it'd be beneficial to utilize energy from the opposite sign to it, which would be Aries. Aries is more about going headfirst and not necessarily thinking about how it's going to affect other people. It's about how you feel and your initial feelings and emotion and your desires and what you want to capture at that moment. You may need to dive into that bag in order to establish a little more balance, or not fall too deep into that Libra energy and start being too passive and too bendable. Your Saturn is also in Libra. With Saturn representing your reality and boundaries and restrictions, Saturn's like the bulldozer that comes and tests your foundations and see how strong the foundation or reality that you built for yourself is. Every 30 years, there's something called a Saturn return. And that's when your Saturn traveled all the way around back into the same sign it was at when you were born. And this happens around 30s. This is kind of where the concept of midlife crisis comes into. It comes around during those times. So for you, when Saturn was last in Libra, that would have been your solar return. And that's when Saturn comes to bulldoze or to test your ground and your reality, and seeing how strong the reality that you built for yourself is. It being in Libra, what reality is going to throw at you is these Reality is going to test your ability to relate with people. So you may always find yourself in situations where it seems like it's solely up to you to establish balance in the situation, or that this is a as a main focus. Whenever you're going outside, it's always you having to create harmony. It's always you having to create balance. It's you always having to add love and balance out a situation. It's never, or it seems like this is predominantly what's thrown at you, or this is the predominant problem that you get hit with. So Saturn in Libra demands or creates a need for you to develop your diplomatic skills in order to better handle influence from other people. Because you have heavy Libra energy. It's not necessarily that you don't know how to use the positive side of Libra, which is the romanticism, the expressiveness, that's saying the right things and talking about beautiful things, being very creative. This is the artistic side. Not that you don't dive into or know these things and it helps you communicate with people, but that you have a lot of this energy, so it's easy for you to fall into the negative sides of this sign. So you got to be careful of that, because this is what Saturn's going to throw at you. So maybe it's the negative sides of Libra that is really going to be weighing you down, and not the absence of that energy in general. Lastly, I will do your nodes. And basically, your nodes are where your sun, the moon, my bad, because the moon is you. The moon is most important. How you emotionally respond to things determines your actions, your worldviews, and everything else stems from that. So the south node is where the moon came from, what you're familiar with, what your natural abilities and things that you're comfortable with. It being an Aquarius, you're comfortable with being fixated in your own thoughts. So you may be a little comfortable with stubbornness, or so you may dive into that stubborn energy a lot. Or it could be positive, as in you're not easily, your mind's not easily changed, or you have your own mind. But North Node in Leo is North Node is where your moon is going, where it needs to go. So development and destiny is the energy that your North Node is coming with. And it being in Leo, it's about expressing. It's the spotlight. It's about being creative and brave and dignified and showing who you are, doing your roar. With the Leo North Node and Aquarius South Node combination, it's this with Aquarius, Aquarius and Leo are both attention drawing signs, but Aquarius is drawing attention for its own individuality and its original way of doing something, and Leo is drawing attention by pleasing the crowd and giving the people what they want. So there's this contrast between the two. It's more about accepting that attention is attention, or accepting the power of attention and realizing it, and that it can be used, not necessarily always having to be in your own individual way where it's how you thought and how you wanted to be more accepting of what other people want, and to be more compromising into so that you can express better, or that you can reach more people, or that your energy can be felt a little heavier. This is kind of what you need to learn or dive more into. So lastly, I'll show this little info section where it kind of dices things up in percentage levels. So it shows you the percentage of the elements that are within your chart. No water, which is wild. That just means, doesn't mean that water kind of represents intuition and emotions and past and memories. Doesn't mean that you don't have these things or these energies. It just means that you're highly influential in those areas by other people. So a lot of people within your life There's going to be emotions and dealing with emotions, but it's a lot of the times going to be other people's emotions. It's going to be intuition, but it's going to be other people's intuition. It's going to be other people's pasts and memories that you're going to have to deal with, or are going to be major factors with that lack of water in your chart. But there's a lot of reason, because with the air and a lot of passion and desire and practicality, you're kind of balanced with everything but the water, which is crazy. 64% cardinal. Cardinal's the initiator, the catalyst. So you're more of a spark than all of the other modalities. A lot of masculine energy too. So you push out predominantly a lot of your energy, which is very interesting. Dominant planets, dominant sun, and dominant houses. But yeah, this has been your reading. I hope you enjoyed. Take care.